Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. A big announcement has been made by President Trump today. In fact, a dramatic announcement. President Trump announced that U.S. has targeted nuclear sites in Iran. Three nuclear sites have been targeted in military strikes. Now, these are Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan by using B-2 stealth bombers and bunker buster bombs. Now, for the last few days, there was discussion going around that if at all these nuclear sites have to be targeted, it has to be the US which will have to conduct that operation because Israel does not have that capacity. But today, the US has exactly done that, and President Trump has made that announcement. Now, Iran has also retaliated by sending another round of missiles to Israel. And Iran's foreign minister has condemned this US strike and said that it's grave violation of international law. And Tehran has warned of everlasting consequences. That's exactly what he has said, vowing to defend its sovereignty with all options on the table. Now, this is a development that does not have just regional implications, but it has implications far and wide that will have uh, repercussions all across the globe. To understand the situation today, we're joined by Group Captain Augustine Vinod. Welcome to Mojo Story, sir. What is your first reaction? As I was saying that this was in the pipeline. Sort of, Trump had earlier said that 2 weeks. They might take an action after 2 weeks, but it's just 2 days, and that action has been carried out. What is your first reaction, sir?
Firstly, when they were talking 2 weeks, Zafar Bhai, I knew it is a ruse, it is a ploy. Therefore, at 1:40 in the night, looking at the way the B-2 bombers were moving in, and looking at the way the rest of the forces were arraying, looking at the way the statements were coming out, both from Netanyahu as well as from the other leaders, and being the students of student of strategy and military history, I knew it was going to be tonight, and therefore at 1:40 I tweeted Fardo smoked, and at 5:43 we got a confirmation that Fardo was indeed smoked. But the point is, history has the uncanny knack of repeating itself. If you remember, inspectors went to Iraq and they looked all over for 2 weeks and they didn't find anything. But some of them made a statement that there is a smoke screen, etc. In spite of no WMD, Iraq was invaded, and till date, we are unable to find where that WMD supposedly is. But Iraq is today a broken nation. Iraq, has geographic boundary has not changed, but all of us know the northern Iraq is completely controlled by Iran, and northwestern is by Syria. South down to Basra is controlled by somebody else. It is utter chaos out there in Iraq, and I don't think Iraq is ever going to, come out of it unless they break up into multiple small nations. Shia dominated and Sunni dominated. So something similar is it here is the question I ask myself. But there is a little change in that particular thought process, is because Natanz is a known facility for nuclear centrifuge. So there are three critical systems that was addressed last night. One was the Fordow itself, where they store all the produce that comes both out of Natanz and Isfahan. Natanz is where you are enriching the uranium, and other nuclear fuel. Unlike many countries, Iran has in abundance. In fact, north of Chabar, there is a ridge. Foothills of the ridge is where you have these ores being mined and cleaned at the facility in Natanz. up to 60%, because the centrifuge technology required to clean it up to 90% is different from cleaning it up to 60%. दोनों का
Right.
technology अलग है. So from there, then it goes to the facility at Isfahan, where you have to, once it is, you see, nuclear fuel is unstable fuel. So it is all the time radiating. There's
Right.
some kind of radiation all the time. So to prevent that, for you to able to handle it, you need to cover it with something called zirconium sheets,
Yeah.
followed by iron. So all that happens at Isfahan facility, and from there it moves to Fordow. I mean, I'm just oversimplifying things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it comes to Fordow, Fordow is designed to withstand a GBU 57 kind of strike. It is not at 90 feet. It is at 90 meters deep, 180 feet. Those
Right.
so So all this, I obliterated this Trump statement that it was far greater success, etc.
Yeah.
Is not.
It may not be the case because Iran has also said, sort of downplayed it. They said that these sites were targeted, but they have moved out the things, and also they are giving out an impression that everything was not destroyed in those attacks. But I would, Group Captain Augustine, I would want to uh, play that video of that Iran strike that happened the moment these strikes were, sort of announced, and we had this video. Let's first see this video, and then we can. Very small video, sort of like something has hit that facility and there is fire and smoke. But do you think that it's okay that these sites have been uh, destroyed according to the US and Israel, but that will slow down Iran's progress towards getting a bomb and towards enrichment of uranium, because they seem to be playing it down and they knew that this is going to happen? Could they have just moved out the materials? Is that possible?
See, any facility like Fordow, Zafar Bhai, will have an emergency entry and exit. I've flown over this Fordow facility a couple of weeks ago. I've seen it from air with my
Yeah,
own eyes. It is on
yeah.
a slant, this thing of a mountain, on a face of a mountain. On the other side,
Mm.
from the other side of the mountain, even up to 30, 40 kilometers of tunnel, you can have an entry exit point, which nobody may know. And that will be an emergency entry and exit point. Anyone who makes such a facility inside mountain, they always make an emergency entry exit point known to very few. In so much so
Yeah,
that the last portion, Zafar Bhai, of the entry exit point may not even be dug. You understand what I'm saying? It may not be
yeah,
dug. It may be unfinished. It will be finished only when
yeah.
there is a need to finish it. So,
Right.
um, you know, a rest of the entry exit points can be hit by GBU 57, and it can be down for 3 to 4 months, because to enter into this facility, you need to dig up all that rubble which GBU 57 has created.
Right.
Nothing inside for the facility would have got damaged. I have no doubt on that. No, my problem is
Mm.
not Fordo. My problem is Natanz.
Okay.
Natanz is where the centrifuge is. Natanz is where the entire fuel in the raw form comes and gets converted to 60% enriched nuclear fuel. The dust and the smoke that came out of Natanz has the ability to go up to, if it goes up to 20, 30,000 feet, then the fallout can affect Pakistan and India. Because
Oh,
the winds are very strong westerlies. Paschimi Garbadi hum sunte hain na.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
Western
winds are
disturbance.
250 kilometers an hour. And summers are going away slowly. Winters are going to set in. The wind speed is likely to increase, if anything. And the contaminated air which is going up, moving in the westerly direction, will contaminate everything in its path. And wherever it rains, it will come down as a nuclear rain. Nobody is talking about it.
That's a very important point that you are putting across, because we have been talking mostly in terms of Israel and Iran. Iran has launched missiles and America has targeted, but its impact on the neighboring countries, on the region, will also be severe if at all there is this leakage of uh, this nuclear materials after this blast. These sites have been blasted. I have Could that have been factored in when this operation would have been carried out, or there's just the aim to just finish it off?
See, it doesn't matter to them because the westerly wind is not affecting America
Yeah,
or any Western countries. It is affecting only the Eastern countries, isn't it? How do they bother? If it
yeah,
was exactly opposite,
yeah,
and if Europe was going to get affected, like the way it is, Pakistan, India, and
yeah,
Burma,
yeah.
Bangladesh, Bhutan, parts of China, Laos, Cambodia. So much so, there is a beautiful example of one of the um, eruption of volcanic eruption, followed the westerly winds, went around the world and came back to the same volcano.
Right,
The entire ring of the world got affected by that volcanic eruption.
right. It
So
will
that is
have
also
wider,
possible.
it will have big implications. Uh,
Yeah.
Actually, this is an important point that we may need to focus more on. But when President Trump made that
Oh my
announcement,
God, already.
he in fact warned Iran. Let us hear what President Trump had to say while making that announcement.
Was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's number one state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue.
Right. So that is President Trump making that big announcement. But clearly, the message is that we have done what we have done. If you sort of escalate it further, then we are going to go all out. Now, America has officially joined this war. It was indirectly a part of this war. Now it's American jets that have carried out this action. Now, Iran has been warning that if America joins this war, they will hit American assets in the region. Do you think this war spreading more in that area and this military confrontation only increasing by the day?
Well, it remains to be seen. Tonight, what decision Khomeini takes, it completely will depend on that. And I do not think they will attack US bases. I do not think
Right.
so.
But the point is the regime, the Americans have said that they know where Khamenei is and they can hit him, but they're not doing it. But perhaps the Israelis have been
That is
talking
not
about
true.
regime change.
That is not GBU
Right.
57 ने कुछ नहीं कर पाया. What if Khomeini is 150 meters under the ground? There is no bomb which can reach him. So that is not true. You
Exactly.
can't find
And
Khomeini and hit him. If
there is a,
they would have hit him long ago.
there is a, right. If they would have wanted, they would have done it. They would
Yeah.
not have said that we can do, we will do. They would have just done it. Like they
Yeah.
eliminated these senior
Shut up.
military
Mm.
generals and others. The moment they find, like it happened in Gaza and in the case of Hezbollah,
True.
that their top leadership was eliminated and those outfits were decapitated. But the point is here that Iran has a big military. It is not a small country. The narrative that comes from the West, it is extremely divided. People are not happy. That may be the case, but when there is an external aggression, nobody knows what's going to happen. It's just that Israel and US have decided to take on this action, and now the ball is in the court of Iran. They have been targeting Israel with missiles. Some more missiles have struck Israel today, and that is continuing. But it is, as you were saying, it's very important what Khamenei does next. That will decide the course of this war.
100%. And that we will come to know tonight. Aaj ke baad, so this particular program, probably we can have another round of meeting, maybe as of by tomorrow, and close things up. Whether or not this is continuing further, or Trump looks at some other reason, it remains to be again seen. आपको याद होगा, Zafar bhai, if you are not with us, you are against us.
Yes.
Junior said that.
Yes.
He yet invaded Iraq, even though Iraq was falling in line.
Yeah.
आपको याद होगा. So
Yes.
I do not know.
But when that invasion happened, there was a spell of chaos and anarchy in Iraq that followed. It was not, I don't know, that time it was the boots on the ground. Will there be boots on the ground this time? But it's not going to be that simple. Iran is a bigger country, more population, bigger area, and has been very stable. Right.
True. What you're saying is absolutely true.
And in all of this, Netanyahu, he has thanked Americans and thanked President Trump. He calls it some sort of a civilizational sort of a war. Let's hear what Netanyahu had to say before we get a last word from you.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Right. The point is that nobody knows whether this action will actually slow down Iran from making a bomb, or it will just accelerate Iran towards making a bomb, because the jury is out. Iran was into negotiations. It was trying to find a way, and it was going on for years. But now, after this action, if you talk about North Korea, they have a bomb, nobody touched them. But Iran does not have a bomb, and that's precisely the reason that if suppose hypothetically it gets that bomb, and then obviously that is its safety, sort of a protective cover. So nobody knows whether this will actually accelerate Iran, because the entire effort is being made to slow down Iran from making that bomb. That's why these nuclear facilities are targeted, scientists are targeted, generals are targeted. But nobody knows what's the end game here, because we're looking things in a very simplistic way. Once the war happens, nobody is going to know what is going to be the end of the war.
True. Absolutely. Tonight we'll know. I'm holding my breath till tonight.
Tonight is very crucial, as you were saying, and we'll get to know that what happens, whether what will be Iran's action. And now if suppose Iran carries out more strikes on Israel, will America just actively take part in this war? Because earlier this was just the 3 strikes that they have carried out. Will they now directly get involved in the war? It's an open question. The jury is out, and there will be more clarity in the next few hours. Thanks so much, Group Captain Augustine, for joining us today and for your sharing your thoughts. Thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo Story. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.